Okay, this is our exit interview for this weekend clinic with your family. And so we want you to tell us what happened to you. What did, tell us, first of all, how much you've ridden before, so everybody else knows. And then what you feel like happened to you and what you experienced and if it made your life better, riding better, whatever. So Gary, why don't you go first?
How
many times have you ridden before you got here physically?
in the last year,
Just your whole life.
my whole life, probably a dozen times.
Okay?
About 3 times in the last year, and all the other times were on about her age, about 10,
Okay.
12.
A couple years ago?
A couple years ago. I've never had any formal instruction. So I was looking at your cycling clinic, and I talked to you. I wanted to bring her down to ride, learn some more, because she really loves it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've watched her trot and do some canter, and I'm thinking, okay, how difficult can that be? But then I keep thinking, I don't bounce real well off the ground. So, but with the first night, we went around, and it was fun. I like something like that. And then we watched the people Saturday morning, and then you went through the instruction, and I'm watching, thinking, this makes sense. And then we went back out and started leaning, and it's a learning curve because you have to readjust
Your instincts?
right? Yeah, I mean it works. It's just I know a few times there didn't look real good, but I was getting better, and you lean back and it's kind of like this isn't bad, and all of a sudden something your instincts say you're starting to lean just a little bit, so you kind of reach for the saddle, under the saddle.
That's your instincts actually reaching.
Right.
Your brain is probably trying to recorrect you as long as you don't touch nothing.
But as I reached up for, and I never really reached for a horn, it's just the saddle, on the front of the saddle. And I noticed a couple times, all I did, I reached up there, I didn't grab it, I just barely even touched it. And all of a sudden, like, okay, you're good. And I'm leaning back again. So it's kind of like,
There's a point there where you have to overrule those instincts because they
Correct.
want to do this.
right,
They want to brace themselves. Just like if you were walking down the street and started to fall in an earthquake, you'd be looking for walls and trees and everything else to lean against because you feel like you're out of control. So
and then the trail ride afterwards, it really helped me a lot because I was noticing, like when you talk about the stirrups and you're pushing or walking, and it's kind of like, so pay attention. I started raising my toes, lean back. Oh, of course, we were just walking a little bit, and it's just comfortable. And then you sometimes forget about it, and your instincts kick in again, like, here I am. And so pay attention. So it works. I really like it. We'll be back.
okay, all right. Now what about you? Now I remember when Gary made the reservation for this clinic, he actually said, well, my wife's just going to come watch. She's not going to ride. Now, was that because you didn't think we had room for it? Because we were full this weekend, or was it more coming from you weren't sure if you wanted to ride? I'm not sure.
I've ridden twice.
Twice before you came here? Okay.
Once recently and once when I was a child.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure I would be safe.
Okay.
Then when everybody else was doing it, then I just wanted to fit in. So.
Okay. But now tell us, how did you feel? Because my first ride, I was 8 years old, and we galloped home. My first ride. So I was galloping like this home at 8 years old. I didn't ride another horse for 20 years. So there can be some gaps between riding, which is unfortunate, but is that kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how do you feel now? What happened to you while you were here?
Got in balance.
Okay. There's evidence of that too.
There's
There's evidence before you got in balance, and then after we did the classwork, you were getting in balance. That's
Yeah.
so. In one day, you were making an achievement that sometimes takes people a year or two to get.
Yes,
In
and there were
fact, we
still
had some people.
slip-ups because I still grabbed the horn and things
Well, but-
when I tried to redirect
But
myself.
you know not to, so you kind of, I don't need to do that, and that's helpful because some people actually prescribe it's okay to do that. But that's okay to ride with your training wheels your whole life while you ride a bicycle, and that doesn't make sense. So do you feel like you kind of got somewhere?
I did.
Okay.
And I enjoyed the trail ride. I would do it again, and like you said, well,
Okay, that's great. Now, you are the big case in this family. How many years have you had lessons?
About a year and a half.
About a year and a half. And does that mean like every week, every other week, once a month?
Normally about 1 to 2 times a week.
1 to 2 times a week.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with our video evidence of you,
Mhm.
and you had a bad accident also recently, you still didn't look so good riding a horse when you got here because you were riding like this, almost in fear.
Mhm.
Did you feel fear the first?
A little bit.
Okay, a little bit of fear. It looked like a lot of fear to me. It's okay to downplay it, but when you ride like this, that's somebody that's really afraid of their life being on the ground. Okay, so now after we went through the schooling and stuff, and of course, the more you know, the harder it is, like I told you, to forget what you learned. If you've ever seen Empire Strike Back, that's the best movie to say what needs to be said for someone that's written a lot and still is not doing well. You've got to unlearn what you have learned. So when we first videotaped you afterwards, I kept having to tell you, lean back some, lean back some. But even when you lean back just a little bit to fight the law, the propulsion with the law of physics, you were doing better and better and better. Do you feel like that? Okay. So at the end of the tape, you were looking even better than you did when we first started. Is that how you felt? Okay. So tell me something about anything that you think happened to you while you were here.
I feel like I got more in control.
Of you or the horse, or both?
Both.
Both? Okay.
And I didn't feel as scared, like that I was gonna end up on the ground.
Okay.
And I felt like now I'm more in balance.
I'm guaranteeing you are, because we got the video of you. You are more in balance. And if you can get away from the vertical position, and even if you just go back 6 inches, okay, you're going to help yourself be a better rider over and over again. The only problem, like I told you, you're going to have is if you go back to taking lessons, they're going to try to undo what you learned. And what you're saying is you're not as afraid. That is more important than any lesson in the world, whether it's for me or someone else. If you're not afraid anymore, then you're gaining something worthwhile. But if you take lessons for 100 years and you're afraid to ride every time, how is that any fun? Okay? Did you have more fun riding yesterday afternoon versus the night before when we taped you? Okay, so to me, I think it's more fun makes it better. It's got to be better if you're having more fun. Okay? That's good. Now, does anybody else have any closing statements there they want to add? Because it's a free form here.
Reform.
Yeah, just don't call me any names.
I just think that it's, the biggest thing for me, you learn something, even if you've done it before, you've got to be open-minded, because what you've learned before doesn't necessarily mean it's right or the best. And there's always different ways to do things. And just because it's been consistent for Lord knows how many years doesn't mean it's the best or the right way. People get in that rut where, that's how we've always done it.
Yeah, and that's what's happened to the horse industry, in my opinion. They've adopted a method which is somewhat universal. Even Western people are using the English theory of remaining vertical, no matter what the horse does. But that doesn't make it right, because if it made it right, 90% of the people would get it within a week. But we're looking at 80% of the people that drop out before the first year is over with. So we're just losing people by the game loads, and there's no sense in it. Not when we can take twice, 12 times in a year and a half of lessons, and all 3 of you had improvement with 1 lesson in 1 day. And you both are saying that you feel better about your riding experience. That's all that matters. What we don't want is you have a lesson 1 day and end up on the ground and go, that's it for me, I'm driving a car. Because the horse industry needs riders that are in balance and having fun. That to me is more important than anything. Now, of course, if you ever want to go to a show, you'll have to ride like they tell you. But like my head wrangler girl from Israel, she's almost stays upright now. She learned from me, but she's upright, except in certain situations. So you can still do it. Once you get rid of the fear, you can do it any which way you want to do it. But you got to get rid of that fear first. And I think you guys made a big, gigantic step from the night we filmed your Friday night to Saturday afternoon, you made a gigantic step, I feel.
I think in control, I'll say, you know, even of yourself and the horse gives you more confidence and gets rid of that,
Yes.
starts whittling down that fear.
Well, you got two things when you're fighting, when you first start riding: control of my body and control of this 1,000-pound body.
Right.
And if neither one of them are under your control, then how can you feel confident?
You can't.
You're just ready to get hurt is what's going to happen. And so once you gain control of your body through balance, then you can work on the horse. And once again, like I told everybody before, never ride a horse that's not already ready for you to ride. Not until you're a great rider. Then you can take on some more harder horses. But you don't need a hard horse to begin with, ever, because you're going to get into trouble there, and it's not worth that. Okay, well, I thank you guys for coming. Hope to see you again.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate it.
we'll have fun the next time you come.
Right.
All right, see
We
you
will.
later. Bye-bye.